Can Bears head coach Ben Johnson find his own version of Jameson Williams in Chicago? Because JMO's speed really opened up that Lions offense even more this year, and the Bears are lacking a true burner offensively. We're going to dive into this, look at some free agent and draft targets that could potentially create that type of role here. And I want to ask you guys this. Pick a number 3 receiver. Would you rather bring back Keenan Allen, type KA, or add a speedster, a true burner? Maybe not to the caliber of Jameson Williams, but someone who can take the top off a defense, create explosive plays. KA for Keenan Allen, S for speedster. Give us your thoughts, and let's dive in. I'm Harrison Graham. Can Benny J find his own JMO? As I think it's pretty clear, one thing that stood out this year is that Jameson Williams' breakout and just speed and explosive nature took that Lions offense to an even another level. It was already elite for the 2 years prior, but this year, him being a 1,000-yard guy, being able to hit the home run ball on any given play, just made that offense even more potent and tougher to defend. And it's not hard to figure out why. If you have a guy with elite speed that you can complement with other good players on your offense, which the Bears have, by the way, right? Like, they have DJ Moore, they have Odunze, who both have good speed, but neither are like true burners, like sub 4.4 guys. You get a guy who can take the top off, even if he's not quite as gifted and skilled as JMO. That really just does open up your entire offense. So if I'm Ben Johnson, if I'm Ryan Poles, I'm trying to find that. Now, is it a bigger priority than the offensive line? Of course not. But if you could find a guy in the middle rounds or an affordable guy in free agency, I definitely think that could be something that the Bears try to replicate this offseason. Now, full disclosure, the chances of finding someone as good as Jameson Williams, pretty unclear. Like, I think that guy's arrow is pointing straight up. I'm not saying he's going to be Tyreek Hill, but I think he's going to be pretty good for a long time. But can you find 75% of Jameson Williams, 80%? I think that's on the table. And we got 3 free agents and 3 draft guys that we are going to take a look at here that could give you some of that speed to really open up this offense. So let's go ahead and dive on in. Okay, free agency. We've mentioned him a couple of times. I think Marquise Hollywood Brown is the best option if you're going to try to find a free agent that A, is affordable, and B, gives you that type of speed. Now, I don't think he has quite the wiggle of a JMO in the open space. Like, I don't think you do as many of, like, the end arounds and the jet sweeps and the gadgety plays with Marquise Brown. He's more of a vertical threat on the outside. But in terms of his ability to take the top off the defense and make some guys miss in space, he can definitely give you that. Now, obviously this year he missed most of the season with that shoulder injury, which could actually work in the Bears' favor because in recent years he's had some dinged up seasons. Obviously just the 2 games this year, 14 last year, 12 the year before. It's been a few years since he's had a fully healthy and high level of production season. And I think that could lower his price tag. Probably going to be cheaper than Keenan Allen. Like, I think Keenan Allen is probably, I don't know, low end $10 million per year, high end 15, 16. Marquise Brown, I would say on the high end is 10, 11. Maybe you get him for 7 or 8. I would guess that's the range for him on a 1 or 2 year deal. Maybe get him for 2 years and $20 million with 12 guaranteed or something like that. And he gives you that speed and a history of production when healthy for this offense. Okay, Tutu Atwell, if you want to go with a younger guy who, you know, maybe if given more opportunities could give you more production. I thought he answered the bell this year when Puka Nacua was out, Cooper Kupp was out. He had a few big games. Now, didn't find the end zone this year, but over 560 yards, career high there. I think a career high in catches as well. I remember early in the season when the Bears beat them, he was kind of like him and Demarcus Robinson were like their top healthy guys. So I think he's an intriguing player that still hasn't quite completely fulfilled his potential. Now, he's probably more of a wide receiver 4 ideally, but when you have 2 big-time receivers like DJ and you're hoping Rome, who I think can elevate to get there, along with a good tight end, Cole Kmet, well, maybe he can be a 3, but really your 4th target, right? Because he can absolutely fly. He is really fast. He can do some of the gadgety things. Now, again, poor man's JMO. This JMO is more dynamic, better route tree, route runner, all that stuff. But for a cheap deal, I don't know, $5 million, I think he could do some things that could open up this offense. Maybe not as consistent as a Jameson Williams, but maybe 4 or 5 games a year he gives you, a game-breaking type of play. Okay, we are sponsored by Z-Biotics here on today's show. It comes in this little capsule right here. And what is it, you ask? Well, you're going to go out, have a couple of drinks tonight or, the next holiday, next date night. Maybe it's a first date and you're feeling like getting groovy a little bit. I'm getting a little older now, but sometimes I still like to have a couple of drinks. And the unfortunate part when you age like I have is you don't bounce back quite the same anymore the next day. You're feeling a little groggy. Well, that all changed when I found Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol. Pre-Alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to drink this probiotic before drinking alcohol. Drink responsibly and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. We all have busy lives, and you can't afford to waste a day after a night of drinking. So Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol is the answer we've all been looking for. Go to zbiotics.com/chatsports or scan the QR code on screen to get 15% off your first order with code CHATSPORTS, all one word, at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription with our code so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. Z-Biotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. That link is in the comments and in the description. QR code is right there. 15% off with code CHATSPORTS. Okay, one more free agent option, Darius Slayton. A little bit of a bigger body. He's about 6'2", 210. So if you want to look into that mold with a guy who still has speed, can take the top off, he was a consistent big play player for the Giants. The problem is he was inconsistent in terms of catching the football. Now you look at his averages by season. Like if you average his 6-year career, 40 catches, 650, 15 yards per catch, 4 touchdowns. Like if you told me the Bears' number 3 receiver gave you that next year, sign me up. Big plays, over 40 catches with the amount of target or weapons you have, that would be pretty damn good. Again, he drops the ball a lot. He does not have great hands. But you talk about a number 3 receiver, you're not going to give him huge money. I'll be curious to see what he gets on the open market. I think he was making like $7-8 million last year. Are you looking at the same? Is he north of 10? I'm not sure. But I would certainly have a line there. Like, I don't know if I'd go 10-plus million, but if you could get them for 6, 7, 8 on a 1 or 2 year deal in terms of APY, I would not be opposed to that. All right, pick a free agent receiver to sign to try and add some speed to this offense. If you want Marquise Brown, type MB. Tutu Atwell, type TA. DS for Darius Slayton. If you could pick any of these guys, let us know who it is. Okay, let's go to the draft now. Tez Johnson. That's a name you guys have probably heard a lot because he's a polarizing prospect. 5-year college player, 3 years at Troy, 2 years at Oregon. A lot of production, almost 4,000 yards and 28 touchdowns. And just such a unique prospect, right? Because he's 5'9", a $156. That is where he measured in at the Senior Bowl. That's small, right? Now, I think in today's NFL, you can get away with the slider frame more than you used to. And I'll say this. He does a pretty good job against press coverage. It's not like he gets jammed a lot. I think it's because he's so quick at the line, he can get around corners. Now, that'll be a little bit tougher in the NFL, obviously, but had a really good Senior Bowl. He creates separation pretty easily because he's both quick and lightning fast. I think there's a chance he runs in the 4.2s at the Combine. He doesn't have the frame of a JMO. JMO's sneaky, bigger than you would think. So I don't think you're getting that. But maybe you're getting like a juiced-up Tutu Atwell, a guy who can do a little bit more than Atwell has done in the NFL. Bears 72nd pick. Is he in that range? Would you take him at 39 or 41? That feels a little early, but I think he's an intriguing player in the middle of the draft. Okay, Isaiah Bond, who Texas had bigger plans for, but things didn't quite work out for a variety of reasons. If you remember that crazy Alabama-Auburn game a couple years ago, that 4th and 29, Jalen Milroe threw the Hail Mary to him. He caught it in the end zone. That's kind of the play he's known for in college. But big play weapon, can stretch the field, can take slants to the house. He's really explosive. This year he started out well, then he slowed down. And I think the main reason for that is he had a high ankle sprain, and I don't think he was ever right the rest of the season. He kind of was playing through it. He didn't take much time off. I think he missed like 2 games. And, a high ankle for a guy who his game is based on change of direction and twitchiness, you got to really heal that thing up. And it never seemed like he was quite the same. He kind of got phased out of the offense there. So I'm not fully sure what happened there. I think that's where your scouts, you got to lean on them and try to figure out what's going on. Are there work ethic issues? I'm not sure. But when he's right, he's a guy who can change a game for you. And a player, again, on day 2, 72, I think, he'd be in that range of when you could get him. And then Jaylin Noel, who had a great Senior Bowl week a couple of weeks ago out of Iowa State, one of 2 good Iowa State receivers in this draft. I think the other one's name is Jaden Higgins, if I'm not mistaken, who he's more of a big physical guy. Noel is like 5'9", 5'10", twitchy, good speed guy. Back-to-back really good seasons, had over 800 yards in 2023, almost 1,200 this year, 15 yards per catch. So he's pretty damn solid. Only 4 drops on almost 120 targets. So for a speed guy, that's pretty good hands as well. That's one thing Tez Johnson has too. For being a smaller guy, you would think he'd have more drops. That is not the case. His drop rate is, I think, sub 3%, which is very, very good. Noel's is pretty low as well. I think this is another guy on day 2 that the Bears could keep in mind if they want to add a true burner that can create some explosive plays for this Bears offense. Okay, just like we did with the free agents, pick one to draft. If you want Tez Johnson, type TJ. If you want Isaiah Bond, type IB. Or Jaylin Noel, type JN. I like all 3 of these options, especially if they're available at 72. Obviously, got to have the offensive line in a good spot, all that stuff. But I think drafting someone like this is very much on the board if Ben Johnson's trying to replicate a little bit of what he had in Detroit with Jameson Williams. And that's the bottom line. I do think the Bears need more speed on offense. Doesn't mean they can't have a good offense with their current core of players, but I would like to add more speed. Now, could Tyler Scott be somebody that Ben Johnson has a bigger plan for? He was a burner at Cincinnati who created a lot of big plays. Remember that crazy stat? In college, his touchdowns averaged over like 40 yards per touchdown or something. Like all he did was hit home runs at Cincinnati. Maybe he has a bigger role, but he kind of feels like a Tutu Atwell is the best case scenario where he's probably more of a wide receiver 4 at this point, but maybe a coach with a clearer direction could get more out of him. But I would expect them to add somebody at receiver, and who knows, maybe they should bring back Keenan Allen. I'm not sure, but I do think, and I would like to add more speed to this Bears offense. Okay, there you have it. 6 players that the Bears could target to try and get their own Jameson Williams for Ben Johnson here in Chicago. If there's any other names that come to mind for you, drop them in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe.